Yo, what up, everyone? Today I'm making a video on one of the topics that were really big discussions around 2 weeks ago, I'd say they started. And it was mostly with the release of the secret dungeons. And previously, Karambit was one of the best choices for damage in terms of various raids and stuff like that. Basically all around DPS, but with the release of secret dungeons, another monster became very easily obtainable, and it's the Dark Cowgirl or Cassie. So I've seen some videos where people are saying to ditch Karambit and invest into Cassie as a replacement. I also saw several videos where the opposite is being said. So instead of doing some guesswork myself, I decided to do something even more useful and actually test out the damage between them. And of course, in this game, testing out the damage will be a little difficult since I did want to do it in sort of conditions where they would be the most common, meaning uh, I wanted to test that damage in sort of a real life raid scenario, but bothering people for like 20 runs just to test them would be a bit tiresome, both for me and them. So I just made a test myself and I tried to mimic the real life scenario as much as I could. And the way I've done that is I've tested in Naraka, so I went for a solo run, and essentially my team was Helia as a soul linked unit, busted for the attack buff, and either Cassie or Karambit in the third damage slot. And yeah, and the way I test the damage, of course, because Helia's defense break and damage taken up will not always land the same level debuffs, as well as it can miss sometimes. I'm not gonna be comparing straight up DPS, but I did think of a test which would accurately allow me to compare Cassie with Karambit, and that's by comparing the damage either Cassie or Karambit did compared to the Cleave when he uses his basic attacks. I've done basic attacks only because first of all, let me see. Yeah, so basically whenever I'm hitting the boss, the Cassie or Karambit is constantly hitting him, as well as I'm hitting the boss with basic skills only. Why I didn't want to use charge skills is because some of them do have defense scalings, which will throw off the scaling a bit. Second of all, some of the skills have provoke, and since Cleave increases damage if the enemy is provoked, it would be an unfair test if only some of them landed. So I only stuck with the first skill being used, as it only has attack scalings, and I'm only bringing attack buff into the run, so I feel like it will be the most fair test in this case. And the way I did the test is essentially after coming into the dungeon, I'm gonna dodge the first fireball attack the boss has and start hitting the boss solo by doing two skill trees from the Helia and a third one 5 seconds later. So I'll put up on the screen some of the runs of me doing this test while I talk over it further. And yeah, so starting with Cassie, I've tested her damage against Cleave, and later on I tested Karambit's damage against Cleave in same conditions. This means that even if Helia only drops like a level 2 defense break in total, or if she drops like level 6 defense break, level 5 damage taken up, both the Cassie and the Cleave, as well as Karambit, would do increased damage, and it will make the test even how should I say it, even more fair rather than just tasting overall DPS, since that will depend a lot on Helia's defense breaks landed. So for Cassie, comparing her damage to Cleave, I've done 8 runs for both Cassie Cleave and Karambit Cleave combos. And in total, I found that with Cassie Cleave, you will see the damage numbers on the screen. I hope I don't forget to add them. That On average, of those 8 runs, she did around 3.36 times more damage than Cliff. Of course, just because of those Heli RNG debuffs, I cannot give you the exact DPS numbers. I can only compare it to Cliff, and by comparing both Cassie's damage to Cliff and Karambit's damage to Cliff, we can draw a conclusion which one of them is better. So yeah, for Cassie, comparing to Cliff, she did 3.36 times more damage than Cliff, so keep that number in mind. Then I did the same with Karambit and comparing his damage to Cliff, and on average, Karambit actually put out 4.87 times more damage than Cliff. So yeah, based on that, I did try to make their conditions as close as possible. So I've explained the defense breaks and the damage taken up scenario as well as attack buff scenario. For the stats themselves, they did use the same rune set. So this is the rune set that Karambit has. And I put the same rune set on Cassie when I was testing with her. So the runes are exactly the same. They are both rocking maxed skills, so both Karambit as well as Cassie have maxed skills on their account. Both are level 11 awakening, so as Cassie as well as Karambit both are at level 11. I try to make that equal. Of course, since she is a nat 4, potentially you can awaken her to level 13 and even 14 for quite cheap. 15 will be a little more expensive, but if you did several secret dungeons for her, you might have enough materials for level 15 as well. And also some variations that can occur. So first of all, the Trial of Ascension. This one I made sure that the elemental powers are equal, so the fire tree only has 2 upgrades in each, and the dark one also only has 2 upgrades in each path. And of course, for the book, so for the units themselves, my Karambit is at level 1, meaning he receives 95 attack and 3% attack speed, while Cassie is at level 2, I believe, and she will receive 30 attack and 1% crit rate, so Karambit does have 65 extra attack there. And overall, since regular element units are way more common than dark ones, you will have a little more buffs from the 3-star units. As you can see, most of my dark 3-stars are, well, some of them I didn't even have, but ranging from 0 to level 3, while my fire ones are actually at level 5 to 6. I'm not seeing any 4s or any 7s, so on average those power buffs will be a little higher than the dark ones, so keep that in mind. But with all that said, it looks like overall Karambit is doing actually around 30% more damage compared to the Cassie. However, he is getting a little more buffs from the book, as well as since he's an F5, you do have the potential to max her awakening higher than Karambit. For example, if you haven't summoned any dupe Karambit, you can only get him to level 9, while you can pretty easily get Cassie to level 14 or 15, so she will have those stats extra, which she did not have in the current test I did because I wanted to keep it as equal as possible. And as you summon more Dark Nat or other Nat 3s, she will be getting that extra power faster compared to the Fire Nat 3s that you summon, meaning that the damage she will do compared to Karambit will catch up a little bit. So overall, the test proved that Karambit does like 30% more damage in real life scenarios, and this means that for the people saying that Cassie is a good replacement for Karambit, that's definitely not the case. However, her damage is still pretty good, and she's still a definitely very useful unit from my experience. And I think that other than replacing Karambit, she's actually a good addition coupled together with Karambit. And what I found, for example, for Cassie is running her in the Naraka one, and whenever you encounter the minion phase, since both Karambit and Cassie ignore various buffs that prevent damage, such as shields, I found that putting them two together into the minion phase, for example, actually allows you to kill those minions straight up without any CC, and as long as these two are running some swift sets or just any attack speed sets and constantly dealing damage to minions, you are able to get rid of minions super easily. You do not need any CC or anything like that. I can straight up just do basic attacks with my cleave and they will clear it without any problems. I'm not even bringing attack buff into that. I usually run Karambit, Cassie and Lulu in the minion phase. Lulu is there just for the emergency heals in case they take the burn damage. And these two can actually clear it pretty well, but for everyone saying that Karambit is, or rather can be replaced by Cassie, that's definitely not the case from real life damage scenarios. Of course, if there was no defense break, Karambit would excel even more since he does have ignore defense on his first skill. So yeah, that's it for the test. For future tests, I'll definitely be doing some of these in the future, but I wanted to sort of make it representative of real life scenarios. Maybe in the future I'll try to make one with Galleon, since he can provide both attack buff and defense break, and the defense break should be consistent. We'll see how I'll work that out in the future, but for this one, I hope you enjoyed and found this video somewhat useful, and I'll see you in the future.